All right, good afternoon. The July 24, 2023 Veterans Land Board meeting will now come to order. Pursuant to Section 31.015 of the Texas Natural Resources Code, I am chairing this meeting in the Commissioner's absence as Chief Clerk of the Texas General Land Office, as the Commissioner is away on state business. Should the Commissioner return prior to the conclusion of this meeting, I will relinquish the chair to her. The July 24, 2023 meetings of the Veterans Land Board is being held in person at 1700 North Congress Avenue, Stephen F. Austin Building. Access to the meeting by members of the public was published in advance in the Texas Register in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Any member of the public wishing to address the board must register at the table just outside the entrance of the meeting room. If you wish to speak on an item listed on the agenda, you'll be recognized when the board discusses that agenda item. If you wish to address the board on a topic not on the agenda, you'll be recognized during the public comment period. And do we have anyone registered at the time? No. Okay, thank you. First item on the agenda is item number 1, call to order. So I officially call the July 24, 2023 special called meeting of the Veterans Land Board to order. Looks like we do have a quorum present, so we will proceed. This time, if you're able, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and the Texas flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and one indivisible. All right, thank you. Now, the invocation at this time will be led by Rob Murray. He's an employee of the Veterans Land Board and is an Army and Navy veteran.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you in gratitude for the opportunity to serve our veterans, active military, and their families. We recognize that it is through their grace, their great sacrifice to our nation and state, share in the blessings of freedom and liberty. We ask that you guide us through our deliberations and that those we represent will be our foremost consideration. Please bless our board members and staff, our veterans, our active duty military, their families, and all Gold Star families. We pray that these proceedings today will be pleasing in your sight. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item number 2, approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting scheduled April 25, 2023. Any board member wish to discuss this item before voting?
No, sir.
Is there any objection to approving the minutes from April 25th by unanimous consent?
No objection.
Hearing no objection, the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is item number 3, public comment period. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we have it on twice here. Oh,
We have a
approval of
second.
minutes from the May 25th, 2023 meeting. Sorry, I have to approve both of the minutes. All right. So again, item number 3, approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting, this time from May 23rd, 2023. Any questions on this item?
No, sir.
No questions and no objections.
No objections. Hearing no objections, the minutes from the May 23rd, 2023 meeting are approved by unanimous consent. Next item on the agenda is item number 4, public comment period. Members of the public may address the Veterans Land Board concerning any matter within the authority of the board. I will be limiting the length of the time available to each speaker to 2 minutes, and the board secretary shall keep track of time. And again, just checking if we have anyone in attendance. Nope. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is number 5, chair and board member opening comments. Any opening comments from the board?
No, sir.
No Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Hearing none, we will move to item number 6. Item number 6 is consideration and possible action to set aside bids received from the online bidding forfeited sale held July 20, 2023. Chair recognizes Mr. Gonzalez to present item number 6.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Raul Gonzalez, Deputy Director of the Land and Housing Loan Programs. On item number 6 is a non-action item, as there are no appeals before the board today.
All right, thank you very much. This being a non-action item, we will move to the item number 7, consideration and possible action to accept and award all qualified high bids received from the online bidding sale of July 20, 2023. And once again, Chair recognizes Mr. Gonzalez.
On item number 7, there were 3 tracts offered for sale on the online forfeited land sale. Bidding started June 5th through July 20th. We received a total of 41 bids. We're recommending today on 3 high bids totaling $395,000. Staff is recommending that the board award all high bids that meet the qualifications for the land program. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
No. It's nice to see that the bids were substantial this time.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. That being said, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 7. Next item on the agenda is item number 8, consideration and possible action on request to forfeit VLB delinquent land accounts.
Staff is requesting that the board take forfeiture action on the resolution before you, except on accounts where sufficient funds are received to avoid this action. Today, 3 accounts are being presented for action today. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chair, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
I know from a previous meeting that we had a similar circumstance where there was a very low remaining balance and significantly below the amount of the loan. In that circumstance, I think the individual couldn't be located or was deceased or something. Is that the situation with the 2 that are the lowest here as well?
On this, I don't have the answer for that, but I do know that we've made quite a bit of effort to reach these veterans. And on top of that, like we offer them not to pay off the account, but also to be able to set up payment arrangements there. But I will double check on that as well.
Well, I was just curious because I know these are veterans we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And when they get down to such a low remaining balance, it always makes me wonder. I'm sure that's what it was, and I have the same question regarding the next.
Yeah, and we'll continue to work with them on this forfeiture action. We will we'll still work with them and give them the opportunity to be able to bring the account current or make payment arrangements. Yes, sir.
Good. That's excellent. Thank you.
And so to be clear, even if we vote on this, you will continue up until the time of action to
Correct.
work with the veterans?
Yes, sir. Because then the next step would be an order for sale after the forfeiture. So this, we're still working with them, trying to see if we can reach a resolution.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
No.
sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 8. Next item on the agenda is number 9, consideration and possible action on request to order for sale land tracts that may be included in the next online bidding sale.
So staff's requesting the board take action on the resolution before you. The resolution lists 4 accounts that will become tracts on the next forfeited land sale. We are requesting the board's authority to pull any account that reinstates prior to the sale. On the one in particular that's listed with a low balance, we have the veteran is deceased and we're not able to locate the heirs on that particular tract. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, any questions from the board?
No.
All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve item number 9?
I so move.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 9. Next item on the agenda is number 10, consideration and possible action to set the next quarterly land sale bidding period to begin September 5, 2023 through October 19, 2023.
19 or 12th?
I've got 19.
Is that October 19th or October 12th?
Go ahead.
Oh, is it?
October
I've got-
12th, yes.
Apologize, I have October 19th on here.
All right.
So September 5th, 2023 through October 12th, 2023.
Staff's requesting that the board set the next forfeited land sale bidding period. It was October 19th. We did move it up 1 week to October 12th, up to 5 p.m. So with that, like I said, the tracts that we just ordered for sale will be the ones that will be listed online for the next sale.
Okay, any questions from the board?
No, sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 10. Next item on the agenda is number 11, consideration and possible action on forfeited land sale for tract in Bowie County.
Staff is requesting the board approve staff recommendation for allowing the board to first offer for sale the remaining 1.5 acres to the adjoining landowners for the balance due. This particular tract started out to be 10.16 acres, and over time, it's either the other in Oklahoma or down the Red River by now. So what we're asking on this one, instead of offering it for sale on the online sale, is to reach out to the adjoining landowners and see if they'd be interested in purchasing.
I was particularly impressed with the equitable approach on this. First of all, the story of the incredible shrinking land tract was entertaining. That was an amazing story. And but then when you have the residual that's left, to just offer that for sale makes an awful lot of sense, and I think it's a fair way to do it.
All right, any questions from the board on this one?
No, sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 11. Next item on the agenda is item number 12, consideration and possible action of a resolution authorizing interest rate swap transactions related to bonds issued or to be issued in connection with Veterans Land Program. Chair recognizes John Barton present item number 12.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members. I'm John Barton, Assistant Director of the Bond Funds Management. This item is the board's annual renewal of its authorization for staff to execute certain interest rate swap transactions upon notice to the Executive Secretary of the Veterans Land Board. This practice started in January of 2009, and staff executed 2 interest rate swaps in conjunction with 2 bond issues this year. Happy to answer any questions.
So this is the annual renewal of our authorization to do that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And again, just gives you the authority, should the current markets rise, gives you the potential to do it within the next 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions of the board?
No, sir.
All right. Is there a motion to approve item number 12?
I so move.
Is there a
Seconded.
second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 12. Next item on the agenda is number 13, consideration and possible adoption of resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of Texas Veterans bonds. Chair recognizes John Barton to present item number 13.
Good afternoon. So this is our, issuance of up to $250 million of taxable bond issuance, or $250 million general obligation tax bonds. In April meeting, the board approved $250 million, which we closed last Thursday, to provide some additional funds because our prepayments have slowed down, and to continue to fund home origination and mortgages for our veterans. So we're asking for that same authorization for the coming year.
And Mr. Barton, the fact that the prepayments have slowed down is primarily interest-driven, I assume. As the interest rates go up, there's not as much of an incentive to do that.
Yes, so the previous loans that we originated at much lower interest rates, people aren't prepaying those, as you might expect.
But as far as you can tell, there's no other abnormality in the repayment sequence that we normally have. It flows quite well, so it's really just interest rate sensitivity and just lack of prepayments.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, very good.
All right, any other questions from the board on item number 13?
No.
No, sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So move, for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 13. Next item on the agenda is item number 14, consideration and possible action of a resolution authorizing liquidity facilities relating to bonds issued or to be issued in connection with Veterans Land or Veterans Housing Program. Chair recognizes, we had Monica to present item number 14. Apparently you are not Monica.
Not quite. Good afternoon. I am John Tommy. I'm a portfolio manager for the Veterans Land Board. Happy to be here in front of the chief clerk, chair of the board, and the rest of the board. Approval of this agenda item will renew the board's annual authorization for staff to substitute liquidity facilities on existing VLB variable rate bond issues. To enter into new liquidity facilities related to VLB bond issues and to amend associated bond resolutions as necessary. The board most recently provided the authority in July of 2022, and subsequently staff arranged a liquidity facility with State Street Bank to provide liquidity on the State of Texas Veterans 2023 bonds, and on the prior issuance last week of the 2023A taxable series bonds with the Texas State Comptroller. Looking forward, there are currently liquidity facilities that will expire before the end of July 2024, that will need to be replaced. I recommend that the board authorize staff to substitute existing liquidity facilities or to execute new liquidity facilities during the period beginning July 29th, 2023 and ending July 28th, 2024, and to amend or supplement related bond resolutions as necessary to accommodate.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board on this one?
No questions.
No, sir.
Right. That being said, is there a motion to approve?
James, you want
I
to?
so move.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 14. Next item on the agenda is item number 15, consideration and possible adoption of resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of tax-exempt State of Texas Veterans bonds.
The board, this is John Tommy. Approval of this agenda item will authorize the issuance and sale of up to $250 million in tax-exempt new money general obligation bonds in the Veterans Housing Assistance Program during 2024. Under similar authority provided to staff in July of 2022, on April 20th this year, the board closed on $250 million of State of Texas Veterans Bonds Series 2023. The issue was structured as a variable rate with a swap to synthetically fix the interest rate on the bonds. The swap was provided by Bank of New York Mellon, and liquidity was provided by State Street Global Finance. The Series 2024 tax-exempt bonds are expected to be substantially similar in structure. I recommend that the board authorize the issuance of up to $250 million in tax-exempt new money general obligation bonds for the Veterans Housing Assistance Program, with a final maturity no later than 6/1/2056 and a bond TIC no greater than 6%.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board?
I do have a question on this one.
Yes, sir.
We went through in item number, I believe it was item 13, we talked about taxable new money general obligations for the VHAP, and then this one is tax exempt for the same program. And I thought that the way we usually did it was we did the tax exempt first And once the $250 million was authorized and we'd finished what was allowed under state law, then you went to taxable. So I'm just puzzled by why we're doing it this way.
I don't believe that we're necessarily going to be required to do a tax exempt before taxable or a taxable versus tax exempt. I believe we can go ahead and look into the market to see what's going to be better situated to support the structure.
All right, so it's essentially, we have the Bobbsey twins as the authorization, and whether one was born before the other doesn't really matter.
I believe so, absolutely, sir. Just to offer ourselves the best flexibility for the program.
All right.
All right, any other questions on item number 15?
No, sir.
No. Move approval.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 15. Next item on the agenda is number 16, consideration and possible approval for the delegated authority to contract for furnishings of the Tuskegee Airmen Texas State Veterans Home in Fort Worth. Chair recognizes Ann Kirkendall to present item number 16.
It's always a problem. I am Ann Kirkendall. I am a project manager for the GLO Construction Services, and it is an honor to be before you today as an Air Force veteran's daughter, an Army veteran's wife, and most importantly, a Navy son. So, I would like to request the consideration and possible approval for the delegated authority to contract for the furnishings for the Tuskegee Airmen Texas State Veterans Home in Fort Worth, currently under construction.
All right, and so this would allow you to furnish, what does this make up, this 1.2 million for the furnishing?
This package includes 4 parts. It is the resident beds and related equipment, resident room furniture, living area furniture that's throughout the building, the office furniture, and patio furniture. The goal of this is to acquire these pieces to be delivered to a vendor, a warehouse vendor, for that warehouse vendor to inspect, inventory, and then install on a more aggressive installation process timeline.
Okay. Any questions from the board on,
Mr. Chairman, could I add something? And
Yes,
just so the board knows, the reason this is being brought to you as a delegated authority is under our contract policy we established years ago. Over $1 million contracts require board approval. We want to make sure we don't slow things down, have to call an emergency meeting or wait to our October meeting. So that's why they're before you today with delegating authority, so we can move quickly to make sure the furnishings are in place for the new home.
This is, my comment is, I'm impressed, again, on the heads-up attitude that you have. Must be being related to so many military members, and really squared away family.
I will give them that credit, yes.
But it's, I know there's a real effort to try to get this done on an accelerated basis, so
Yes,
as
sir.
was just pointed out, it's a good move. Good
Okay.
move.
and I will attest to the fact she runs a very tight ship.
That's right.
She always does. Any questions, other questions from the board on item number 16?
No, sir.
Does this require approval? Okay. I move board approval.
Second?
Motion is made, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 16.
Thank
Next.
you very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is number 17, consideration and possible action on a 5-year contract with Bracewell for outside counsel services related to VLB bonds.
Good afternoon. Excuse me. Good afternoon again. John Barton, Assistant Director of VLB Bond Funds Management. This item is for a renewal of a 5-year contract with Bracewell LLP for outside counsel services related to our VLB bonds and swaps. They provide support services for market conditions, regulatory tax changes, all sorts of anything that may come up either on a transaction or on an ad hoc basis. And if I may, I'd like to recognize, we have George Rodriguez from Bracewell, who served the VLB for over 30 years in that capacity. So, and we'd recommend approval for this item.
All right, any questions from the board?
No questions.
No, sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 17. Next item on the agenda is number 18, consideration and possible action on a 5-year contract with Stifel, Nicholas and Company for financial advisory service related to VLB bonds. Chair once again recognizes John Barton.
Thank you. Stifel, this is for a renewal of a 5-year, or approval of a 5-year contract with Stifel, who serves as our financial advisor, who provides financial advice on the swaps and bond transactions, and provides all sorts of cash flow services, both on ad hoc and also on a per transaction basis. And today we also have, if I'd recognize, Gary Mashak and Joshua Carr from Stifel, who Gary has served in that capacity for over 30 years, so we have a really experienced team.
Okay, any questions from the board on this one?
No, I understand, and at first I was curious because I hadn't seen this kind of authorization approval before, but then it really dawned on me that it's a 5-year cycle, and it just came in after the last time it was done. I have no questions, I move approval.
All right, is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 18. Item number 19 is next on the agenda, consideration and possible action on the FY24 budget for the interlocal cooperation agreement for operation of the Rio Grande Valley State Veterans Cemetery with the City of Mission. Chair recognizes Dr. Kelly to present item number 19.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Dr. John Kelly. I'm the director of the Texas State Veterans Cemetery Program. This item is for your consideration and approval. We're entering year 3 of a 3-year contract with the City of Mission to provide the staff and the operating supplies at the cemetery. In exchange for that, we provide them with $750,000 for the year. That budget remains unchanged from last year or the year before. We characterize the relationship with the City of Mission as very good.
And again, I believe you noted this is the same structure, same format, same annual budget that we've had the last couple of years for this
Yes, sir.
contract.
Budget's remained unchanged.
All right.
Dr. Kelly, I just have one question. I'm confused by one point. This is the contract was extended to a 3-year term, which expired in 2024, but now we're talking about a 1-year authorization, so I'm not sure.
Yes, sir. We actually amend the contract every year because the city's budget is part of the contract, and the city only renews their budget annually. So every year we have to amend it to bring in the new budget,
Okay,
which, again, has remained unchanged.
right, and so next year and before September, we'll come up with another 3-year.
Yes, sir.
Based on that. Now I understand. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from the board?
No, sir.
Is there a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Second?
Second. All in favor, say aye. Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 19. Item number 20 is consideration and possible action on a 3-year extension of the interlocal cooperation agreement with Nueces County. Chair recognizes Dr. Kelly.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We have been operating a similar arrangement with the Nueces County for the operations of the Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery. We have done 2 1-year contracts back to back. We characterize the relationship as excellent, so we want to now extend that. County judge agrees with us. When they find a good partner, they like to extend them as well. So we are looking to move into a 3-year contractual arrangement with them. Contract price is $900,000 per year for 3 years, so it's a total of $2.7 million. That is to provide the operating staff as well as the operating supplies. Any capital repair, capital improvement costs above $1,000 still come to us. Subject to your questions.
Any questions from the board?
No, sir.
Contract price remains unchanged, by the way.
Good job. Thank you.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second it?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 20. Next item on the agenda is number 21, consideration and possible action naming the new State Veterans Cemetery in Lubbock as the West Texas State Veterans Cemetery.
Thank you very much. We're seeking your approval today of the name of the new Texas State Veterans Cemetery to be built in Lubbock. Back in the very end of February, we were informed that we had gotten a grant opportunity. And right away, many of us traveled to Lubbock and held meetings with various officials, including one where the city volunteered to take on the task of trying to adopt an appropriate name for the cemetery. They solicited out. They actually have a Veterans Advisory Council on the city council, which is composed, as you would expect, of members of various veterans services organizations, your VFW, American Legion, et cetera. So they solicited out through that committee out to the various veterans groups. And as you see, they had several nominee names. And in the end, the overwhelming majority decided they liked the name West Texas State Veterans Cemetery. And so we recommend approval of that as the official name of the cemetery to be built in Lubbock.
That's a pretty good move on their part. They're in Lubbock, and they claim half the state. That's another.
Solid move.
Yeah, it sure is.
They may box out any future applicants there, but
That's right.
we will take that as they come.
They only have South Oklahoma.
All right, any other questions from the board?
No, sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, carries unanimously to approve item number 21. Item number 22 is consideration of and possible action on delegation of authority to execute a contract to establish the West Texas State Veterans Cemetery. I'm glad we approved that previous one.
Yes, sir. I'm actually very happy that you
This
did.
could get very awkward.
As mentioned, this is requesting your delegation of authority to the chief clerk to sign the contract for the actual construction. We're still in the middle of the design. We're right at the end of the design process. We're about to go out and solicit procurement, hopefully beginning on the 1st of August. We'll receive bids throughout the month with a closure of 30 August. Then we'll do vendor selection. Once we got that piece, we'll package it all up and we'll get it up to the VA for them to award us the grant by the end of September. Because all this will begin occurring prior to the next VLB board meeting, we're asking for your authority ahead of time to delegate to the chief clerk for him to sign the contract.
Any questions from the board?
Just an observation. Dr. Kelly, I continue to be impressed with how forward-looking you are with respect to our cemetery program, and I much appreciate that.
Sure.
And I know that you had talked at one point about having a strategic plan where you would identify the number of all the different facilities, the crypts, the columbaria, et cetera. And I'm sure you're probably working on that, but this looks like it's a large enough cemetery project that it should help to move us forward in that regard. And is your strategic plan effort still proceeding?
Yes, sir, absolutely. In fact, in coordination with Mr. Tony Dale, our Executive Secretary of the VLB, we are looking to hold in the near future the Cemetery Committee meeting, which is a combination of you all and some officials from the Texas Veterans Commission, so that I can present that information about where we are, where we need to go, and what we need to do to get there.
Excellent. Good.
Yes, sir.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on item number 22?
No, sir.
Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Seconded?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 22. Next item on the agenda is item number 23, consideration of and possible action on delegation of authority to execute a contract to expand the Coastal Bend State Veterans Cemetery.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Similar to the last item, prior to our next VLB board, we will need to execute a contract. We're doing a $5 million expansion at the Coastal Bend State Veterans Cemetery. We'll be bringing in about just over 3,000 pre-positioned crypts, about 1,200 columbaria spaces, and the various other improvements at the cemetery. We have completed procurement phase. Bids closed last week, so we're now about to move to vendor selection. And then, of course, we'll package that up and get it off to the National Cemetery Administration for award of the grant, and then it's off to the races. And so this is about asking you, again, to delegate authority to the chief clerk for him to sign the contract for that, construction contract for that expansion.
All right, any questions from the board on item 23?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Happy to move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 23. Next item on the agenda is number 24, Texas State Veterans Cemetery Program Quarterly Update.
Yes, sir, thank you. This item is, there's no action required. This is simply information update for you. As I have always done, I organize it with VA developments and then what we've done in the VLB, and then finally items that I think you might express interest in. So in terms of the VA, as just mentioned, we are expanding at Corpus Christi at the Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery. That grant, we should receive that here in the near term with construction to begin likely in September. And at that time, we'll also be scheduling a groundbreaking. Of course, you all will be invited to that groundbreaking activity as well. We, likewise, as I've mentioned, the new cemetery in Lubbock, that process is unfolding now, and we anticipate a groundbreaking hopefully in the month of November at Lubbock. So things are going to get busy between here and the end of the year with regards to cemetery expansion. Finally, we submitted an application before the deadline of 1 July. Almost a $12 million expansion at the Central Texas State Veteran Cemetery in Killeen. That'll result in about 5,400 pre-positioned crypts, 4,000 columbarium niches. We are going to add a second committal shelter. The one we run now is booked all day long. And so to allow for program expansion, which we're seeing on about a 7% growth rate per year right now, that'll give us the capability of running multiple ceremonies simultaneously. We'll also, of course, be integrating Space Force and some other improvements. So that has been packaged and submitted to the VA. Now we're kind of on radio listening silence until about the 1st of October. The VA will go through a process to prioritize all of these grant applications, and then they'll apply their funding, and that'll result in a decrement line, and then we'll find out where we are. I believe we're in good shape to get this. It's a pretty major expansion. It'll take care of the cemetery for 10 years into the future in terms of plot space. We did have an operational expansion at the Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery at Corpus Christi. I mentioned that last time. We got through that inspection with very high scores. The staff did very well, which certainly can continue to be proud of our Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery. Likewise, the Killeen Cemetery has now been scheduled for their triennial inspection. That'll be coming up in November. Moving on into VLB initiatives, for quite some board meetings now, I've been talking about the in-ground cremated remains plot expansion that we paid for at the VLB level. I'm happy to report that it is complete at Killeen. It completed at Corpus Christi last Friday and will be completed at Abilene very shortly. That provides us plot space for at least 10 years, in some cases a little bit longer than 10 years, of that plot type at those three cemeteries. Getting to know your state veteran cemeteries, and Mr. Scott asked me a question, very good question, a couple of boards ago about how are we advertising what we're doing. And this was one of our efforts, one of our many efforts to get the word out. That has now been published to social media for the Rio Grande Valley State Veteran Cemetery in Mission and the Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery in Corpus Christi. I was just reviewing some, and it's just been published in the last week, and I was reviewing some numbers today. For the Coastal Bend site, we've already got 68 people liking it, so the word is spreading amongst the community. There were comments that they really appreciated the information that was being provided to them. We actually managed to put a couple of videos into those as well, so if you have time and availability, I encourage you to go and check out those Facebook pages. We re-interviewed some of the senior staff at the cemeteries. I think you'll enjoy what you see there. We are continuing to work on a number of monuments. We have a Vietnam War monument that is in construction for the Texas State Veteran Cemetery at Abilene. We have 3 war monuments for the World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Iraq, Afghanistan, Persian Gulf War periods in development for the Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery. And then we have a donated monument for the Rio Grande Valley State Veteran Cemetery in Mission as well. So it's just a matter of building a pad for that and then get it transported down. Memorial Day, I'm not sure if you got a chance to engage in any of our cemeteries for Memorial Day, but as I mentioned last time, we did some new things we've never done before. We lit up all the flags in the entrance road, And then we lit up all the headstones for those missing in action and killed in action. And then during the service, we actually did a roll call for all those missing in action, killed in action, interred at each of the cemeteries. I can tell you that the public sentiment has been overwhelming, such that I have now declared those to be annual traditions. From now on, we will be doing those at all of our cemeteries on Memorial Day in the future. Other items of interest, again, I'm really glad you approved the West Texas State Veteran Cemetery name because we started up a Facebook page in the interest of providing information to the public. Some items that are on there now, we have the new logo for the cemetery on there. I also put a construction timeline on there so that the public can understand when to expect the gates to actually open. I had some members of the public that were thinking next month it would be open. And so that's partly about making sure that the public has the right information. And we actually activated a frequently asked questions section on that page as well. Very similar questions to what we get at the other cemeteries. A few of them are specific to Lubbock, but we've activated that, and folks in Lubbock are starting to access that as well, as we can tell by the number of likes and those sorts of things. So it's our way of communicating out to the public at this point, help them understand timelines, et cetera. The design of the Texas State Veteran Cemeteries, I provided you a picture of it in your documents there. We drew upon the existing cemeteries and tried to bring out the best aspects of the existing 4 and integrate those into the 5. One of the best aspects at Corpus Christi is what I like to call the big old Texas star. And so we've made that a centerpiece for the Lubbock design as well. We actually have comments from people flying into Corpus Christi about how they'll look out the window and see that big old Texas star and how they love seeing it, particularly when they're coming back to Texas from elsewhere. And I've already found out our cemetery in Lubbock's actually going to be on the flight path, one of the flight paths into the airport there as well, so I expect similar comments. But to get this grant opportunity, we had to cut down the original grant. And the way we did that is the first piece we did is we did not make a complete perimeter road. We cut out about a quarter or a third of that road. We cut back on plots, each of the various plot types, we basically cut them in half. So instead of 1,000 crypts, we're only getting 500. Instead of 1,000 columbarium spaces, we're getting 500, et cetera. And so we got it down to the point where the NCA could fund it. But we have now added all of those back into, and they will go back out on the bid as what are called additional alternate projects. So we will go ahead and go through the design of those. They'll go out and they'll be bid on, and if NCA has additional funding at that point in time, then they will fund those additional alternate projects. We've paid a lot of attention in recent days to some of the decor issues. For those of you that are familiar, Texas Tech's a big player in Lubbock. And they have their own scheme of brick design, brick colors of roofs, et cetera. And we've embraced that into the cemetery's design. So it'll have a red roof, and it'll have the brickwork called Texas Tech brick. And so we can integrate that piece of local culture into the design of the cemetery. It's also going to have something that no other cemetery in the state has. The perimeter fence is going to be unique. It is going to be prefabricated concrete 3-post fencing. So imagine posts and then 3 horizontal slats, and that will encompass the entire circumference of the cemetery. And it looks exactly like something you'd ride up on your horse, get off your horse, and tie it to the fence. That's also taken from the local culture. We think that's going to be a real hit in that area because it really embraces the idea of Texas and the Old West. Subject to your questions.
Questions, comments from the board?
Good report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That being an informational item only, no action or vote will be taken at this time. Final item, Chair, board member, closing comments. Anything you wish to take up?
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here. And actually, just to comment to everybody who's already participated in the meeting, it's I continue to be amazed at the quality and the caliber of the folks who work here and the work that you do. I'm impressed. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing what you do.
And I definitely want to take the opportunity to echo those sentiments. I can't thank Dr. Kelly and his team enough. I know just the West Texas State Cemetery. That's about a 4-year project they've squeezed into about 18 months, and really appreciate the hard work. And the bond and financing folks, I mean, in this volatile market, what they're doing to allow us to continue serving veterans, I think goes unnoticed a lot, and just want to say thank you for everything y'all do, and we appreciate the efforts. So there being no further business before the Veterans Land Board, the July 24, 2023 meeting is hereby adjourned.